Hello everyone. So glad to be here at the SEDV Academic Summit. My name is Sabti. I'm a recent graduate of the National Institute of Design Hyderabad, and my art presentation is titled "Addressing Archives." So today my agenda will be to present my graduation project Archive, which is a interactive archive dissecting the histories of migrant women in Bombay. So to start off with, following the title of the presentation about what archives are and what their history is. So, just beginning with the definition, tracing archives back through their etymology and historical relevance, its nature does come off as bureaucratic interventions of preservation and documentation. But this act of historicizing, which happens within the archive, is what Gabriela Giannacci talks in her book Archive Everything, which I've sort of used as a guidebook for this project. So, she evokes Pierre Nora in separating this idea of history and memory. So Pianora speaks of history as uh, an incomplete problematic attempt of recording memory, where memory is this dialogue between remembering and forgetting. Gabriela Giannacci says that the archive is the place where these two sort of collide and work with each other. She calls the archive this quote unquote structure wherein the documents capturing the signs and the effects of our presence on others are encountered, remembered, curated, and historicized. So the archive to me sort of exists as a continuous process around existing remnants of memory. Uh, Speaking of memory, coming from a spatial design and research background, studying exhibition design, but the connection I made with this idea of memory was that of the city, particularly my city, Bombay or Mumbai. And Bombay's history since its rise as the first urban city of India has been built on the philanthropy and the labor of its migrant community. It has been captured ethnographically in very colonial ways of seeing as formal data within the archive, but it sort of disseminates through the walls and language and culture of the city in very intangible ways. So the demarcation of the outsider and insider has always been a little difficult at Bombay when it comes to it being a cosmopolitan city where there are nativist politics sort of enforcing a singular collective history, putting at risk the survival of these alternative histories of migration that lie hidden beneath the surface. A few examples I can show you. On the left, you'll see an abandoned mill complex, which is the history of Bombay's textile mills that burned down in the 80s. A large part of the workers there were migrants from the Konkan region. On the right, you'll see a Zoroastrian temple of the Parsi community in the city, which has been there for as long as the city has been known as an urban center for the country, which, looking at the history of Bombay, sort of brought me to this question of migration. And it specifically meant I had to understand the functioning of a migrant or diasporic archive as something distinct than the general archive that we speak of, which I derived from Arjun Appadurai's idea of active, conscious work of the imagination as a core of the migrant archive. And so my project Archive was born out of a search for these counter narratives through the diasporic archive as a process. So this idea behind ARPA, aided by the NID Core Foundation grant, was developed around the UN SDGs, which is the Sustainable Development Goals. So all these layers I spoke of were basically providing a context for or a framework for my project's inquiries, which included looking at the city as a system through the subject of migration, uh, working with the archive as a process or a practice, or the practice of archiving. And the last stakeholder inquiry is came from a personal place of trying to go deeper into the question of whose history. So here, after seeing a dire lack of stories around Mumbai's migrant women, it was a conscious decision to bring in feminist perspectives to this whole base of the project. So now that we covered the who's of it all, let's move on to a little bit of like the what. So I visited archives as a user to understand the this sort of idea of archives within Mumbai. This process of user testing through various archives like women's archives or institutional archive, corporate archives like Godrej, the picture on the right, and even state archives. So going through the entirety of the system as someone trying to access this material, the very first obstacle I encountered was just stepping into the space. So there was a large sense of security around the documents and selections of the archive. So there were appointments to be taken. there were verifications. The whole process of entering the archive was time consuming and strenuous. The second aspect was that each archive had one dimensional perspectives on how history through its content was looked at, depending on who created it, especially when it came to categorizing. The idea of power existing within the space sort of came about through curation and the nature of the information. The third aspect that I encountered was a lot of the archive tried like warehouses as opposed to active spaces with less grounds for exploration. There was no way of running into things and finding out something of your interest. So, uh, this was also partly the idea behind preserving the material being more important than having active classroom engagement or virtual engagement with the archive. And the fourth one specifically because I decided to work on women's stories was a realization of massive gaps in how uh, these stories were or weren't captured at all. So it left these huge negative spaces within the history that I was looking at, which then this user researcher created a clear idea of the direction which I could take as a designer to utilize or intervene when it came to this project. When stigma acts as a largely advantageous part of being a visual designer was that I could use media, which a large section of is available on the internet as an open source platform. So I decided to move away from the spatial aspect of the archives and working only with open source material. And the second one was building on this idea of counter hegemony that Gramsci sort of perpetuates as understanding history as different timelines and different parallels based on context and subjectivity as opposed to one singular lens. Yeah, yeah. So this dynamic play of memories that I previously mentioned. Uh, the fourth one was understanding the archives beyond metadata and looking at the narrative potential or a storytelling potential as opposed to just uh, materiality. Then the fourth was, as I mentioned before, looking at the silences or these negative spaces adds the loudness that exists in the archive when it comes to women's stories. Moving on to finally getting started on the idea that I had to make this archive or make this interactive archive. So before this project began, I decided to go through my family's personal photographs where I found images of my grandma who belonged to the Silvi community in Bombay, a lot of who migrated to the city after the partition of India in 1947. So they were the Sindhis were connected to Bombay by sea trade and residing in Sindh uh, previously, which is now in Pakistan. So the partition was largely refugee ships moving due to rising tensions to the moving making their way through the city, and a lot of struggle with finding ways to hold on to identity and culture that was left behind with the geographical. So I started off with a lot of reading and research into audio visuals, but I needed more personal and specific context within the city of women, for which I decided to interview women of the community collecting oral histories. And what you see on the screen is the sort of base for how I went about these conversations, understanding the history of the diaspora. A lot of kind women who I met were lovely enough to share their personal images and archives and stories with. They spoke of MOs, they spoke of the societies or the residences, the residential spaces that they were living in. So what you see on the left is from the Navjeevan Society archive, which was a predominantly CDS that came up after the partition. And on the right, you see one of the women I interviewed had this Sindhi traditional attire and heirloom jewelry that she had spoken of being passed down to her. Uh, a lot of the media that I looked at alternatively to open source archives also help tie these oral histories to a very visual context, which were like from ethnographic portraits to pre-partition college magazines, something. So eventually I had this collection of contents and contexts. So a lot of the context that I gathered from speaking to multiple interviewees and a lot of the images and visual material that I had found through open source archives. While looking at them individually, they would create this incomplete history of the Sindhi's diasporic stories that I was speaking of. But when connected together, they created a larger picture. So now that I had a collection, it was time to get into action incorporating design systems and visuals and create a web archive. I decided to start with a name. So Arpar in Urdu actually means the act of going to and fro, which connects to the idea of migration in this context. This chart here is building upon my initial aspirations for the archive, but now to turn these aspirations into creation with the help of design. So the overall idea was to create an archive where the so-called content was individual visual stories consisting of open source material juxtaposed with oral histories and testimonies of present context participants and stakeholders of the system. These would be sort of interactive, gamified mini games that would act as archival paintings. All that the aim was to create a web space that could hold all these manifestations of memory uh, that could be borrowed through, added to be curated as a visitor comes and visits the digital space and looks at it through their own lens. Uh, it aimed to be a space of storytelling and play as opposed to a data repository, or as I like to call it, a scrapbook of memory. I made a sitemap for the web archive, which was particularly useful in understanding how the journey of the user would be, sort of facing possibilities of action and interaction. I wanted that running into information aspect, which I found missing in the archive, to be there when I was designing one. So with a space bar click, you could jump from story A to story B. You could unlock these stories as a part of a larger collection, like almost trading cards or like how Pokemon cards are. So the site is also meant to be a space of memory generation, which Gabriela Giannacci speaks of in her book. So to allow this memory generation, I wanted that to be an aspect of the web archive which allowed reactions to the stories or putting one story next to another to create a larger context for the users themselves based on where they are personally coming from. The sitemap was also turned in the uh, wireframes, which were visuals that would help me with creating a design or a layout for the website. So another addition is that because my archive is based in a city and the spatial context of the urban, having a map to trace these stories through different neighborhoods was very necessary for me. Then to move on to when it came to illustrating the mini games, which I had spoken of earlier, I took a lot of visual inspiration from old Bollywood posters and advertisements that I had come across when doing general research or user testing within the archive, and have this sort of nostalgic retro feel of it, of the imagination of Bombay that is very present in the migrant story within the city, and juxtapose it with very real context of these women that I had collected the stories of. So I started experimenting with scrapbooking in storyboarding interactions, trying to use these collateral visuals, both with contextual and non-contextual, directly contextual and non-contextual imagery. And the final results of what these games were looked something like this. So there was also a need to create other aspects of the web archive, which meant I had to look into how the interaction would signify where to go, etc. And this was also inspired by very real life examples that I had come across with typography within the city structure, through a lot of open source archive material again, where this sort of a retro glow effect or these preppy bright colors that were very predominant in uh, old material that I had found. Again, this sort of very dreamy Bollywood aspiration as a contrast to the very real stories of the archive. Another set of what the rest of the website looked like. I will be showing a video of this. So this is actually a mock-up of what the general experience of the website would look like through a screen recording animation with this complete visual and UI UX design that I had done. Uh, so the transition or of clicking the face bar would lead you to one of these mini games, which you could interact with. So this story was about the Thadri festival that where Sindhi women get together and play cards and have this sort of leisure within their experience on how this culture has followed through generations of practicing it. It would be attached with a direct quote that I had gotten of the stories through these oral histories that I had collected. You would also be able to visit the individual material that was included within the mini games. So this idea of having people actually go back to what imagery was juxtaposed and to look into the archival material to form their own perspectives around it. So the map of Mumbai would contain every story in the location where it was recorded, and it will have a trail of where these migrants are actually from and where these women have traveled to. There would also be an option of putting these stories next to each other, which I hope will result in a better output once I have more collections within the archive. So when you put one collection next to another, you would understand that stories from different communities, how they sort of correlate with each other, and what is the role of women as migrants within these stories. There would also be an option. So I'm just going to skip through this a little bit. There would also be an option to submit your own story, which I am hoping will result in through this memory generation process and grow the archive with whoever uses it. So the base that I had set for gathering these oral histories is mentioned within the web space for the person who is inputting the story to actually follow through and understand through simpler questions. So that was what the archive essentially is. So getting to the project's learnings and its future. Since this was an academic run project with only 6 months as a bracket, it currently exists as a conceptual design. I'll speak a little about where I wanted to go and what I learned through this whole process of building it. The first plan of action, which I had already set the stone for, was to increase the collections within the archive. Uh, the first history that I looked at was the education history of Bombay as one of the earliest tables to have this colleges and council. The second one would be the textile mill history that I had spoken of earlier, where I found stories of resistance of food narratives of women running spaces for the migrant workers to come in and eat food for whoever was living away from their hometowns. So it was just first plan of action is to forage around for archival material around these topics and hopefully grow the archives base. The next overall summarizing what comes next follows the research with actually coding the website and putting it out in the public domain. Post its making, I hope to put it across first the people who helped me with the research to get into this feedback loop with them, trying to incorporate it within the core design of workshop phases where this website can actually act as a toolkit. I am hoping the more it gets engaged with, the more it can grow as a living archive and the more it can take in stories on its own to give rise to collections and bring us back to sort of the first step of expansion. Now, for the learnings to come to sort of the end of the presentation, verbalizing what I understand the potential design holds when it comes to the archival space. A really big one I'd like to establish is the potential to harness narrative capabilities of existing media and images. In the age of the internet, the heavy bombardment of visuals every second can get exhausting when narratives muddle up and it creates a sort of white noise of the past, present, and future. The archive with the application of design is a slow engagement with image making can turn out to be a great way to encourage contextual and tactile learning. Second is when it comes to the negative spaces of history, I think previously mentioned that archive incorporated imagination through design can actually be a great way to situate marginalized stories within history that have been neglected by dominating narratives of those with power or authority. We came across the line everyone is an archive as everyone belongs to of time in a description of the Memory Stations project at EDKDW in Germany, which resonated with me in understanding how existing empty story spaces can be approached to make meaning out of absence. And visual experimentation can help with actualizing and visibilizing these absences of documentalism, hopefully making way for a feminist way of thinking, hopefully making a feminist way of thinking mainstream. And the very baseline of this project being the ability of design to work around circumstances of exclusion of organizations connected to ownership of history, preservation, and memory. The incorporation of pedagogical play can make historical education closer, where difficulties of space and materiality make access to information distant. The internet and open source platforms exist without popularity outside of schools, offices, and day to day institutions when they can actually be an integral part of intellectual engagement. So, yeah, that is the end of my presentation. I would just like to thank everyone who helped me with it, especially the collaborators and participants who I interviewed and my guide for the graduation project. And I will hit a pause and this. Thank you so much.